Hi everyone, this is Rich and I'm going to do a video here of task 1 for lab 1 of CIS 90. So let's start out here. Let's first of all get the lab so we can see what it is. Okay, we'll go to the website and we'll click on CIS 90. We'll click on calendar. We'll scroll down here to lesson 1 where it says assignment, and there's lab 1. Let's click on it. Okay, that displays the PDF file for the lab. And let's go down here to where it says preparation, because if you're a Windows user, you're going to have to install PuTTY, and if you're a Mac user, you're going to have to install Cord. I'm running Windows here, so we're going to have to install PuTTY. So there's need to install PuTTY. We'll go here. There's the PuTTY download page. We'll scroll down to the binaries. There's PuTTY. And what I'm going to do is I'm in Chrome, so I'm just going to go right click, save link as, and let's put this on the desktop so we have it. Okay, and there it is. And it looks like Norton said it's safe too, so it's on the desktop and it's safe. What could be better? Okay, let's go back to the lab. Alright, and let's see what we do here. So task 1, log into Opus. Alright, we just added PuTTY, so we now have SSH on our Windows PC here. If you're a Mac, you already have SSH. You just need to run a terminal. But we're a Windows here, so we're going to have to use PuTTY. So log into Opus at oslab.cabrillo.edu. That is the host name for our Opus server here on campus. This is the host name that's used on the internet to get to that server. And we're going to go over port 2220. So let's run PuTTY. Okay, say run. And I'm just going to copy and paste the host name in here. And we'll go to 2220. That's the port that we want to use. Now, we got a warning here. This warning is something that SSH does the first time you connect to another computer. It asks you if you really trust that this is the computer you think it is. And it shows a fingerprint. And that fingerprint is our fingerprint for Opus. So I'm going to say yes, it is who I think it is. It's fine to connect to it. So yes, connect. Now we need to log in. So I'm going to log in as Benji. He goes by simben90. That's his username on Opus. And we've got to enter the password. Okay, there we go. Then you get prompted for the terminal type. Now if you're on Windows, it'll say Xterm. If you're on a Mac, it'll say color. And if you're on a Linux system, it'll say Linux. Don't type anything here. Just hit enter. Okay, that accepts the default, which in this case is Xterm. You don't need to type it. You can just hit enter. Okay, now we're going to try out our lesson 1 commands. First thing we want to notice though is this string that printed here. Okay, /home /CIS90 /simben space $. There's actually another little space there after the $, but that's called the shell prompt. That's the shell prompting you to enter a command. I want you to enter a command after that $. So let's try some commands here. First command is date. Date prints out the current date, the current time, down to the second. So this is hours, minutes, seconds. If I type date again, you'll see that the seconds has gone from 19 seconds to 30 seconds. The year is the same. PST is Pacific Standard Time. That's the date command. Very handy. Let's see what the next command is going to be. Cal. Okay. Cal prints out a calendar for the current month, and it highlights the day. I made this on Tuesday, the 29th of January, 2013. And Cal, you can give Cal command arguments. For example, I can give it a year. Let's do Cal 2013. And that will print out a calendar for the entire year for 2013. And again, highlight the date if it happens to be the current year. You can also specify a specific month as an argument. So I can say Cal, And let's say month 5 is in our example here, 2013. That'll print out the month of May this year. So there's the month of May. We'll get to that month, we'll be almost done with the course. And you can go back in time too. So for example, let's pick a day in the past, like let's do 9/11. So we do cal, pick the month, that would be September, pick the year. Okay, so there's the month September in 2001. If we want to see what day of the week 9/11 was on, it was on a Tuesday. Okay, you can do this to figure out what day of the week you were born and any other. Go back in time and look at calendars. Next command is the who command. All right, so the who command is used to show who else is on the computer, including ourselves. If we type who, let's stretch it out a little bit here so I can a little easier to read. Okay, HU. There's the who command, and I see Homer's logged in. Milhome 90, that's Homer. He logged in. He's using terminal device 0. That's PTS or pseudo terminal 0. He logged in at 12:54 today, and he logged in from an IP address 172 network. That's on campus. That's an internal address that we use in the CIS lab. Here's me, okay, and I'm using terminal device 1, PTS 1. I logged in a little bit after Homer, and I logged in from off campus. So there's the host name of the computer that I logged in from. Okay, and Benji, same thing. He logged in at 1:32. That's 13 military time, 13:32 or 1:32 in the afternoon. Also from the same host because we logged in from the same place. You can also, with the who command, put an option on it. HU or UH, doesn't matter what order it is. And this will show you another column. Not only does it show you the name of the user, what terminal device they're using, the time that they logged in, but it shows you if they've been idle. So for example, Homer's been idle for 41 minutes. My other session, I haven't used it for over half an hour, so it's been idle for 39 seconds. Benji's active, so it just shows a dot. That means that he's currently typing on the keyboard. So if either of these other two users were to start using their keyboard again, it would reset the idle time back to a dot, which means they're active. It also shows some process information, what process ID they are, and again it shows where they're logging in from. Okay, so again, Homer logged in from a campus computer, and Benji and I both logged in from off campus. Let's see, what comes after that? Who am I? So who, remember, shows you everybody logged in. If you want to see which one of those entries belongs to you, it shows that for this session, it belongs to Benji. So that's who I am with respect to this particular login session. You can also remove the spaces, and it will print out just the username for Benji. Okay? So who am I with spaces, who am I without spaces? The next command is ID. Use ID to get information about a user. If you don't use an argument to specify the user and you just leave it blank, so it's just ID by itself, it will show you everything about the user that's currently logged in to this session, which is Benji. There's his username. There's his user ID. So computers, of course, use numbers for everything. And so instead of using the name SimBen90 internally, the Linux operating system uses a number 1001. You can use this ID command for other users too. Let's use it on myself. So my user ID for our Sims is 201. Benji's 1001. I'm 201. Let's do it for Homer. And Homer is, Homer, I can't use his name. I have to use his username. Okay, so Milhome 90 is 1002. You can also see on here group information. For example, I'm a member of the staff group, the user group, CIS 90, CIS 98, all these different groups. Benji and Homer are members of CIS 90 and users. Okay, and this other stuff that's printed at the end here is all this stuff here. That's SE Linux security context information that's used for security reasons. And this just shows what it's set to for this particular user. Okay, that's the ID command. What comes next after ID? ID and a username. So again, here's a command. Here's a command. Here's a command. And here is an argument being given to the command. So an argument is something the command will work on. Okay, this is an option. This asks the command to work in a different way. An argument tells the command to work on that particular object. Okay, next command is clear. Clear screen. Doesn't delete anything. It's still there. You can see it. Okay. Go all the way back to the beginning where we logged into Opus. That's our little penguin up there. So we've cleared the screen. Next comes the PS command. PS is for processes. Shows the processes that are being run on this terminal device for this user. And 4 columns shows the process ID, shows the terminal device being used. In this case, Benji's using PTS2. Shows cumulative CPU time, how much computer resources have been put in this process, and puts the name of the process. Now, this is a really handy way to see the name of the shell that you're using. There are different shells. We're going to be using Bash, but for this course. But you can see it right here. By typing PS, you see that you're running Bash. The Bash command launched the PS command. The PS command was actually what produced this output, and right at the instant it produced this output, it had to include itself in the output, and that's why the PS command is part of the output from itself. But the parent process is Bash, and that is the name of the shell we're using. Okay, the next command is TTY. This shows you the terminal device that you're using, and it shows you the full absolute path name for that terminal device. So remember, we're using sudo terminal 2, PTS2. We saw that in the output of the PS command. We also saw it in the who output. Symben is on PTS2. Okay, we see it somewhere else too. I don't remember. I don't think so. I think we saw it. Well, we did see it in the who am I output as well too. So that will show you the terminal device that you are using. /dev is just the full name for it. So the way you'd refer to this is /dev /pts/2. Okay, it's the second pseudo terminal device we're using to talk to Opus. Okay, then we go on here. Hostname. When you get enough of these PuTTY sessions going, sometimes you can't remember which one is talking to which computer. Hostname will always tell you the name of the computer you're talking to, and there we are. There's the host name for Opus. So it's oslab.cabrillo.edu. Handy command, hostname. Uname. Hostname tells you the name of the computer. Uname tells you the name of the kernel. Okay, so the name of the kernel that we're using on Opus is Linux. That's the name of the kernel. Okay, what's the name of the distribution of Linux we're running? That would be the next command, cat etc issue. Cat /etc/issue. Okay, we are running CentOS. This is the CentOS release. It's a replica distribution of Red Hat. It means they take the Red Hat source code and recompile it and remove all the trademark information. And other than that, it's the same as Red Hat. This is version 6.2 of the CentOS distribution. The kernel it's built upon is Linux. Okay. The name of this computer we're using on the internet is oslab.cabrillo.edu. That's a unique name that if you type it anywhere in the world, it will get to our Opus server, which we now call OS Lab to the outside world. Okay, the history command. History is fantastic. History shows you all the commands you've typed in the past. Okay? And what's nice about this is the shell, remember the shell is printing out this prompt, a string of text followed by a $sign and then another space. Well, the shell can look at your history, and if I hit the up arrow key, I cycle through commands I've typed in the past. If I hit the down arrow key, I cycle back the other direction. So if I see a command that I want to use again, and I don't want to type it again, I just use the up and down arrow keys to locate it, hit the enter key, and I can reissue a command I've given in the past without having to type it. So history is great. Then the last command is exit. So to end this login session, to free up all the resources I've been using, I type exit, and that will end the session, and that ends the first task of Lab 1 for CIS 90. Hope that helped.